Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Thank you. So, I'm going to wait a few minutes, obviously, because, people get stuck in traffic and all that kind of stuff. So, if you don't know me, I'm Dave Beatty. I'm the head of the BDPNN board. I guess that's technically president. Um, and I really appreciate all of you who have agreed to be in this pilot program. Basically, what you're doing is you are being guinea pigs for us as we try to work out this new sort of digital platform, but also figure out ways to make sure it's not just a digital platform, but it transfers into real life connection between neighbors, but also neighborhood groups to neighborhood groups within the city of Berkeley, and maybe even beyond, who knows? So, um, let's see. I think I made it so nobody can unmute. So let me turn that off. No, I didn't. People, you can unmute yourselves, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good, 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 good. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh, Natalie, you may start getting that kind of echo thing because it looks like you're here in two different
Yeah.
ways. Is
How do I cancel? Can I cancel this out? Oh, uh,
I
I
just
want to
removed the other
cancel
you.
out the other one, but I don't know
I
how.
did it. I did it. It's all gone.
Okay, good.
We're all good.
You okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, um, let me talk a little bit about what we're hoping to accomplish tonight. When you came on, it probably told you that this is being recorded. Really, it's being recorded for a couple of reasons. One is for us, to make sure that we can kind of go back and look and see how we're doing in terms of getting information across. But also for anyone else who wants, if it seems workable enough, to kind of go back and take a look at this, if this is a good mode for doing that or not. So, I also want to introduce Benji Friedman. Benji's in my upper left corner, and he and I have been working on this platform. If you haven't joined before, BDPNN has a platform for, we call it our discussion group. And it has about, I think, a little over 300 people. And it's really about people who are interested in disaster preparedness and, you know, geeking out on a topic like radios or water storage or whatever. But what we wanted to do is kind of go back to the roots of what BDPNN, the neighborhood network, was all about, which is about helping people form neighborhood groups, but also connecting neighborhood groups. Um, the three women who started BDPNN, one of them was Charlotte, and she had this great database background. So she developed a large database of neighborhood groups, and she even mapped them out. And unfortunately, she passed away, and we realized that the model that she had set up was really a lot more complicated than we wanted to have it be, and that we didn't want to play the role of gatekeeper of who gets to, she in controlling that database, had to be the one sort of determining who's, not giving away anyone's privacy or anything like that. So we wanted to kind of work with a system where we could have people join, have people adjust the settings for their privacy, but also as a way of connecting with other neighborhood groups, but also developing an area for their own neighborhood group if they wanted to. And this platform, which is called groups.io, I don't know why they call it that. Um, uh, One, we are relatively familiar with it because we've been using it. We really like the fact that it's very email based. And so if you don't want to deal with all the bells and whistles that come with it, yeah, that's fine. You can just use it as a way to connect via email. And so there's this range of users that we're thinking we're going to try to connect with. Those who are like, all I want is an email, and those people were like, oh, it has amazing tools at its disposal, and I would love to use any number of those. So if you feel like you're a computer Luddite and are worried that you're in a place where um, you're going to be in over your head, that's okay. We want that, especially in this pilot program. We want to know how comfortable people are in this technical platform. And then if you're feeling like, oh, I'm relatively um, savvy around technological stuff, and you want to kind of take the plunge and help us explore as an outside user, that would be great. So that's kind of where we stand. Um, Let me pause for a second. We're a small enough group that we could do just a quick round of introductions if we wanted to. I wanted to let you know that I think this is the right number of people who said that they were going to come. There were a couple of people who weren't sure that they were going to come or not. Is it okay if we just take a minute? I want to try to keep this within an hour at the most, but maybe we could just do a quick introduction, and I'll just start with Benji. You want to say hello?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, hi. My name's Benji. I joined BDPNN earlier this year, and I've been kind of or just sort of just helping with some like technical things a bit. Or there's maybe some things in the works too with like the website in general. Um, and then Groups.io is its own platform that we're using, um, and I'm excited to show you what we've put together so far. Um, I moved to Berkeley in 2012, so it's been almost 15 years that I've been here and like different places in Berkeley. Um, and yeah, I think that's my connection to this.
Great. Gradiva, do you want to check in?
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name's Gradiva Cousin. Can you hear me okay?
Oh,
Excellent. And I guess I'm on the BDPNN advisory board. And I actually almost didn't sign up for this pilot. Sorry, Dave. But then, like a few days ago, my neighbor was like, hey, Gradiva, we really want to get organized. And didn't you make a listserv a long time ago? And could and I was like, no, actually, I didn't. But I know this like great possible thing we could do. So I think after 15 years at this location of like avoiding organizing my neighborhood, this pilot maybe actually will get me over the hump on that. So thank you.
Yay, perfect. Gabriel, you're next up on my screen.
okay. Hello, everybody. My name's Gabri Vargas. I live in Madera Street. I'm the block captain of the Madera Sierra Sonoma Street Group. We do have a group IO list server for the neighborhood, and I've been block captain for about 4 years now, something like that. I would love to get some help and pointers in bringing people together, not only within my own neighborhood, but also other neighborhoods. So thank you.
Perfect. Tom, you're next up on my screen.
Yes, I'm a relatively new resident of Berkeley. We moved in a year ago. Um, I was previously in Millbrae, where I was on the CERT team for about 15 years, and I'm a CERT instructor and a CERT volunteer coordinator in Millbrae. I'm also an earthquake seismologist, and I retired from the USGS, so I can teach classes on earthquakes,
Right.
the 1868 Hayward earthquake,
Wow.
Jake Alert, whatever you'd like.
Wow. Fantastic. Great. Well, welcome aboard. Natalie, you're next up on my screen.
I'm on Keeler Avenue up in the hills. We have 55 households between Shasta and Sterling. So we have every house on this part of Keeler. And I started this about 25 years ago. And we divided our 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 street into pods, and each pod has a captain. So we have 7 pods, and we have, I don't know if you can see this, but this is our pod map. And
Nice.
you can see that each little neighborhood is, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, we have our pod leaders meet once a month, and we have a block party every year, and we're starting to think about doing some potlucks as well. And I really push neighbors meeting neighbors. I mean, they really sick of my message, but I'm always talking about it's the most important thing is to break down those sort of barriers and get to know your neighbors. So we're kind of mature group, but I'm going to turn 92 next week, and I'm trying to move the leadership to a younger contingent, and it's hard. I don't find that people, of course, people who are working don't have the time, but we're working on it. We need to, retire people like me and get the younger people involved.
I hear you. That's a big part of our struggles as well. Carol, you're next up on my screen.
Hi.
Can't hear you.
Uh-oh, it just cut out. We heard you for a moment.
But I don't think they were working.
Oh, there we go.
Here you go. No.
No, no, they
No?
now stopped. It was you were there for a moment and then you went away.
I'm sorry. Maybe you should go to somebody else and I'll try
Now
to
you're
work.
there.
Now you're there.
You're there.
Oh, okay. I'll seize the moment. Um, so I'm on a near Ashby in Sacramento, and just been started trying to organize the block. And it's a block that's had block parties. People are friendly. A lot of young people. A lot of working parents. We held a potluck a couple weeks ago. I found there were people that were interested and actually have a lot of background in this stuff. I know nothing about it. I just decided I wanted to, try to organize something. And we got like 7 families. So people are interested and they were really happy to see that this was happening. And so now I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. But I also feel like I need to find efficient ways to do it. People will show up if it's at the right time, but I need to make it easy for them to. Um, and I did get some info contact sheets, and my first task is to look for people to help me and to figure out what's a good program to use to put that in a way that you know, um, honors the privacy issues, but also is accessible in a way that needs to be accessible. So I'm really just starting out, and any advice anybody can give me. Or we did a thing on go bags. One of the parents who knows a lot about this stuff, she actually made up some games for kids to play with go bags, to make their own go bags. I mean, she's really not available for meetings, but she'll do stuff and she knows stuff. So we have a few people like that on the block, and I'm just trying to, get things percolating. And people really enjoyed the potluck. So I think we're at a good place to start.
That's great. That's perfect. Joe, you're next up on my screen.
Hey, hi, Gradiva, and I'm Joe Cavey-Cordes. I've been a block captain for about 15 years, about 50 houses on Tulare, right by Gabriel. Hi, Gabriel. And yeah, I helped the city of Berkeley with CERT for a long time, and I'm a database guy, so I'm excited to hear what you guys are up to.
Cool. Excellent. Kim, you're next up on my screen.
Well, thanks for having this. I'm Kim Klein. I live on Hearst, and I'm the kind of coordinator for the Hearst and Short neighborhood group. We have 90 households, about 200 people, and we go from Acton to Sacramento and Berkeley Way to Delaware, and so each block has its own block captain. So it's kind of how we coordinate. And we've been operating for quite a while. We have a cache and stuff. But this, after that resilience training, I thought we need to know the neighborhood groups around us, and so this seems like an exciting thing, but I will definitely be in your group that, well, I'm not a Luddite. I mean, and I really do try, but um, yeah, so I'll be one of the slower people.
That's fine.
I'm happy to be in that group.
We need everyone, so that's great. Deborah, you're next up on my screen. There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have no idea what this pilot program is about, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. I live in the Elmwood area, and we have 300 households bounded by Ashby, College, Woolsey, and I guess it would be Regent Street. Um, and gee, I was contacted by one of the block captains a few weeks ago when he had a flood and he had to live 2 days or 72 hours without much water. And he sent it out as a warning that we need to get prepared. So, and the block with the one of the other block captains has all the data and said, I'd be happy to hand it over to anyone who wants it. And that kind of overwhelms me because I need to have other people involved. I'm really not interested in interacting a whole lot by email. In fact, very little. I can barely keep up. I'm part of the Ashby Village Tech Group, and I don't even check my email there. I wait till something important comes to my inbox, a quick summary. So I'm not sure how helpful I'll be, but I'm also very interested, as David knows, in meeting neighbors, neighboring neighborhoods, around me. But we're already so big. And this response, which has been zero from the other block captains, they're probably very busy, but I let them know about this meeting, Berkeley Ready, etc. So um, that's all I have to say.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. Well,
Mhm.
thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it, and really having the full range of people with different experiences is great. I'm not going to go on and blather on much more, but one of the things that I did want to say is that one of the things that we really like about Groups IO is that there are really good settings around privacy for people as individuals. There are these subgroups which we'll be talking about, which could represent a neighborhood group if they wanted it to. And for that group, there are privacy settings, and for the individuals in that group, because we know that privacy is a really important thing for a lot of people. The other cool thing that we really like is literally we can create a map automatically by whatever database that we set up, and Benji will talk about that. But a lot of people have talked about the need kind of for maps, for visual maps, just to say who's nearby, and how can I reach them. And we're trying to create a system so that we don't have to monitor all that, that it can be sort of self-monitoring, and all we need to do is kind of weigh in when there's a problem or an issue. And this pilot program is about seeing what kinds of issues might arise. And so what we're hoping is that you'll let us know what seems to be working for you and what doesn't seem to be working for you. And just as important as the people who are here are the people who aren't here from the pilot program. What is preventing them from being engaged. So I'm going to turn this over to Benji, and he's going to kind of just walk through the structure of this Groups IO that we have. And some of you may be familiar with this. We have the free version in our neighborhood. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, and I'll say also, I mean, yeah, if anyone has any questions at any point, just feel free to ask. And yeah, I have some things I want to show, and then but yeah, if any questions come up, just go for it. Um, so this is the website. So it's a website. You create an account, or you've all created accounts. Um, this is the BDPNN homepage, um, and it has all the posts that have been made over time, or organized by month. And so this is one way to see what like if someone shares a message like similar to like Facebook or Nextdoor or something. Um, and you can also set it to send an email. So that is here on the left, subscription settings. You can set, how, like if you want to get every single message as an email, or a daily email, or no emails. And all the messages that or posts that are created are just in groups.io, and you go to the website to see them. So to start, so this is kind of, similar to other social media websites. You can start a new topic, with a subject line, and a message, and post it to your group. Right now I'm showing the main BDPNN group where there's a lot of messages. But these neighborhood groups are using something called the subgroup feature, which I'll show in just a second. So new message, new topics. Also, like when you RSVP'd for this event, that was a poll, which is another kind of post that you can make with the title and a question, and then different answers here that people can, say what their preferences are. So that's those are some of the like post features. I'm going to go over to the subgroups now. So here on the left, subgroups, into the pilot subgroup. So this is the test group that we're all part of. So here, so now this would be like your neighborhood group would be a subgroup of the BDPNN group. And in here, there's a directory. So this would be, all the people that are in your neighborhood group. And this is kind of the most exciting feature, I guess, here is databases. So on the left here. And so I've created this kind of sample emergency contact directory database. And in this, each person who joins the subgroup can add their household as a row to this database. And by adding their address, which, it's just visible to people within the subgroup, it creates a pin on the map. And these are some suggested columns, suggested fields. So like household name, phone number, residents, children, seniors, pets, different skills that you might have in an emergency, or needs for other people to be aware of, or other notes. And to go back for a second here, if I go back home and back to the main group, and the kind of top level BDPNN database. This has other resources, other databases, but one of them is this neighborhood groups map. So what we're thinking is that if you make a group, I'm not sure why it's not loading. Oh, there it goes. Making a group, a subgroup in the platform, it can be listed with just a general address here on this list of neighborhood groups that want to be listed. And then so this would be a map of Berkeley with links to the neighborhood groups. These are just three test groups. And to go back,
So how do we add a neighborhood group to that?
that would be probably me or Dave. It takes being an admin for the top level group.
Mhm.
That could maybe be changed, maybe like with a moderator role, if you want to keep it updated. The way to do it is the add row button up here at the top.
And just to be clear, what we're imagining is that at the neighborhood subgroup level, you would be, or the block captain, there would probably be at least two people would be an owner, and therefore you would be your own admin person for your own neighborhood, so that you would be a self-contained kind of group, and you could do with it what you want in a way. So you could do something like this, or you could change, for instance, all of the data fields that Benji was kind of going over. You could have your own.
Yes, yeah, it's not set about what these columns are. They can be completely customized.
So, we also have in our neighborhood, we have a listserv. I bet a lot of people do. Goes to the whole neighborhood, and we also have a e-newsletter that goes out. So would this take the place of that? We would move everything from that to this, or would we? Because that would be two different sets of, I mean, two different databases of all the same people.
That's an excellent question. So there's no requirement that anyone who's participating in this has to bring their whole neighborhood along. But if you're the block captain, what you might want to do is just list yourself so that you could say in our overall Berkeley map and say, we have a neighborhood group here. We are not necessarily doing much with the subgroup opportunity because we already had something set up with that. So, for instance, I think, Gabriel, you were saying that you already use Groups.io. Am I correct?
That's correct. So my group is in using that mainly for email exchange or for everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could see, why spend a lot of time, energy, and effort necessarily joining something like this, but you could still be a part of it so that you can connect with other neighborhood groups.
But it seems like there is some advantage of everything in one place. Like, like we have a Google sheet that has everybody's name and address and what their skills are, and another Google Doc of something else. And so, am I understanding right that this could be like all of that could be in one place
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
under in the subgroup?
Yeah. And the nice thing about joining something like this, so the free version of this is a lot more limited. And the version that we have, we got in very early when Groups.io was just starting, and they gave us sort of grandfathered in the kind of the more expansive version. And so if you're paying Groups.io to do it, you wouldn't have to pay anything to be a part of this one.
Yes, and there's also a wiki feature, which if I go back, highlight wiki, This is another place you can have multiple pages of information if it's, a better format for a wiki versus a database as well.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept of a wiki, it's really just sort of information about what you're doing, and it's a good place to store information to help people who might need additional information about how to do it. So, and why this group exists and the philosophy behind it. So there are lots of ways that you can use the wiki, and the nice thing is there are other features. I don't want to jump in. Benji can kind of go through, but there are lots of features that are available to you that you may or may not want to use. It's kind of up to you.
Yeah, yeah, and one like that Dave and I were just kind of discovering just earlier was the calendar feature and creating an event in the calendar and seeing like who's RSVP'd and being able to message people. So, it could be used for event organizing or not, as you want.
So my neighborhood group looks like we're using the free version of IO. So what can we do to upgrade to this version?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have an answer to that right away. So we can reach out to groups.io. Benji and I can do a little, sort of research on that. There are other, obviously other groups have used other platforms. Google Groups is a really common way for people to create as kind of a neighborhood group. It's a little scary because Google has access to all that information. And so that's one of the reasons that when we started this, we chose not to go that route. Um, and but if you have a Google group, I think you can export a lot of the information, and then we may be able to import so you don't lose any history or files, and it's just a simpler process. We haven't done a ton of research around that. So one of the things that I was going to say is I'll probably do a poll at some point and just see like who has an existing communications platform that they're using, what is it? And we can do a little research about how easy it would be to port from that over this one. And I'm assuming, I know I probably shouldn't, that groups.io would have an relatively easy way to do that within itself to this kind of upper end one.
Mhm.
I have a question.
Sure.
If we need permission to come on as a subgroup or as a block captain, because you guys are the administrators, right? So we could also be deleted too, not that we would, but it's a possibility, right? Because I'm just thinking about maybe the importance for a group to have their own platform under their own control.
I see what you're saying.
Um,
So you are kind of questioning the permanence of it. And I
yeah.
totally understand that. And in some ways, I think having it be structured under the umbrella of a nonprofit like BDPNN actually adds to that sort of longevity of like this is a structure that should be around even if I, you know, keel over tomorrow or move away or whatever. So,
Uh-huh.
and the nice thing is if your group comes over, your subgroup is totally yours. And it's true, if for whatever reason this went away, your subgroup would go away, certainly, we're a responsible organization with the board and protocols. And, we obviously wouldn't do that unless we're talking about, there was an electromagnetic surge from the sun and everything got wiped out. But we'll have other problems if that happens.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just since I'm just starting out and I'm not really don't know much about this, and I'm also looking to have other people like do this part of it. I'm just trying to look at all the possibilities and figure out what makes sense for us starting out.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your speaking up. I think that there are going to be lots of different ways that I could see both block captains and neighborhood groups using something like this, and sharing kind of their approach to how they're using it is one of the things that I'm hoping that will get shared. I loved hearing tonight the various sort of structures that neighborhood groups have, the larger neighborhood group and then pods within it, for instance. I could totally see sharing that information with other groups who might decide like, yeah, that sounds like that would be a good fit for us. So all of this, I think, speaks to the notion of us sharing our experiences and sharing, not necessarily giving advice about what you should or shouldn't do, but like, this is how we've done it. These are the issues that we've encountered. These are the benefits of doing X, Y, or Z. So all of that, I'm hoping this will help facilitate that.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's a way to have like two copies that mirror each other, so that like if something happened to one of them, there'd be another kind of a backup kind of thing. Like if
There,
we had our own, but then we also had it on your umbrella as well. I kind of like that idea of having two different locations because you never know.
yeah, there may be there's a way to export a lot of the data that is being kind of collected, right? And there may be a way to automate that as sort of a backup. But again,
That's what I'm
we're
thinking. Yeah.
we're now getting into waters that I haven't researched, but
Okay.
I'm taking notes.
Thank you
Um,
very much.
Benj or David, can I ask a quick question?
I want everyone who
Sure.
has a
Yeah.
question. This is the forum for it. So thank you.
The biggest problem we've run into is privacy, but mostly in terms of having neighbors be able to edit their own household information and hopefully see other neighbors, but not edit other neighbors. Have you figured out if groups.io does that?
Benji, I don't
Yeah.
know if you want to speak to this.
Yeah, I mean, actually, or you could try right now from that pilot link there as a member of the group. Or I could link here to this test database directly. Um, and see there are lots of permission like granular permissions in groups.io all over the place.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think that there's a way, for instance, to take one row of a database and make that accessible to that person only. We haven't found anything like that yet. But what's nice is we can uh, the owner of the subgroup can set certain permissions so that they can at least control it as a whole, right? Like they could say this Saturday, if you want to go in and modify stuff, you can do that, but it's going to be locked down after that. Um,
yeah.
so
Or also an Excel, like you could export an Excel, like a blank Excel file and have someone, and then do an import of that. Um, and like, so people could edit their own Excel, like CSV rows. Um, yeah. I wanted to add also, Carol,
Mm.
from the external group, or like if you're using a different platform for your own organizing, that could still be added to the BDPNN neighborhood groups map, just with a link to there instead. Um, I think, maybe we'd have to think about like how, as long as like it's like maintained, I guess, or what maybe some standards or something that we'd have to think about for for the listing it. But just to say that it's not limited to groups.io subgroups for that
Mm.
database.
Mm.
So then that could be helpful. It's like one of the objectives is like if someone has just moved to Berkeley and wants to join their neighborhood group, this could be a way to find it. So it could help with that.
Yeah, I think there are going to be options around privacy that once, I mean, Benji and I, when we started looking into sort of the various permissions controls, I was kind of shocked by how how many there were and how granular it was, which is, I think, great. It's a little overwhelming, but I think, our plan is that in addition, let's say, you know, Tom, you created a subgroup for your neighborhood, and you and maybe somebody else were the owners of it. And then we would have the row of data about your neighborhood group in the larger BDPNN group so that it would be part of that map, right? But we'd also create another subgroup just for the block captains, the group owners, so that it's a little bit like there's something like this for next door, but basically where the issues that you're dealing with as block captains, you can have your own little place there where you can kind of connect with each other and support each other around that without having it become like
Mm.
an issue for the broader all of everyone who's involved with it because one, they're not going to be interested and they'll be confused by whatever the discussions are, but you can speak kind of freely and know that you're going to be talking to another block captain who's dealing with the same things you are. And that's true for both this digital platform, but also for other kinds of information sharing. So, we've talked about, neighborhood groups that are have good ideas around uh, uh, potlucks, but you can also have like we're going to have a radio drill in our um, neighborhood group pretty soon, and so I might reach out to other block captains and just do a quick, hey, has anyone done a radio drill with your neighbors, and what kinds of things do you think might be helpful? So we could eventually also expand it so I could see there could be a subgroup just for people who have radio stuff and they're because you get a lot of Radiohead people who are really into it and I could see that they might want their own little subgroup. I, I'm a little worried about things getting a little bit too siloed, but I think there are ways to really support the needs of neighborhood groups and the block captains that are doing the work. The other thing that we're going to have to figure out, Benji and me and maybe you, is how do we keep the information in this database fresh? So we could have a neighborhood group come on, two block captains, but if they moved away and didn't have anyone else step in, how would we know that necessarily? So I think probably there's one simple response is, once a year we might reach out to all of the block captains and say, let us know that you're here. If we don't hear from you, we're going to assume that, you're not part of this anymore. And we'll try to figure out how to move forward from there. But making sure that it doesn't feel like, 60% of the people on here are, actually not really checked in. I think that's something that we're going to have to figure out a way to deal with. We're trying to do all of this in a way that is not too much work for block captains, and it's not too much work for us as a board. We're an all volunteer working board. We have jobs, and so we want to do this in a way that really works for people, but isn't overwhelming to any one of us.
So what would you say are the most helpful things to you for figuring out this program and everything for us to do? Right? Like if I were to just go to all my block captains and say, we should join it, we should move our whole thing over, just only we should get in there as a subgroup. Like what I don't know, I can just imagine kind of staging this a little bit.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and we haven't really fully fleshed that out. I mean, part of
Okay.
the pilot program is we're trying to figure out what is the best way to do this. But what we are very open to is if you went to your the various block captains that you're talking about and said, do you want to join this pilot program? And you might want to see, what's good about it, what's not good about it, and help BDPNN try to make it the best it can be kind of thing. We'd be open to that. I don't want a pilot program to run forever. You kind of could, right?
Yeah.
You get lost in the weeds. So we're going to try to, after tonight's meeting, what we're going to try to do is sort of map out a schedule of like, here are the things that we want to try to accomplish with this pilot program. And what we might do is have some fictitious events and see how this platform can be used to support something like that. A neighborhood group doing a drill or something like that. Sharing, for instance, files that you might have in your subgroup of things that you've come up with for your neighborhood group that you think might be helpful to other neighborhood groups. But there's private information in there or not. We, for instance, have a map of our neighborhood group, which is very detailed, and it has, all of the shutoffs, gas, electricity, water located on it for each house. Shows where ladders, if they're outside, exist.
Oh.
We're adding features like this is a house that has a sort of a high-end battery system so that if the power's out, they're going to have batteries for a while. And so that's that kind of thing we can share, but we need to share it in a way that's not going to give away too much information. So literally sort of documents like that is something that can be shared as ideas for other neighborhood groups.
I was wondering about that as a even, I don't want to be ridiculous, but like some kind of vault where there would be a map in Berkeley of where all the caches are.
Um,
Every neighborhood I know, including ours, our cache, a few people know where it is and most people don't because we were advised like people rob the cache and blah, blah, blah. But then I'm thinking in an emergency or something, it might be useful for some cross section of trustworthy people to know where they are.
Yeah. And this is the kind of discussion I could totally imagine happening, right? Like how have certain neighborhoods addressed the issue? In our neighborhood, whenever you come into the neighborhood and agree to be part of our little network on groups.io, you get a physical packet that has the map, that has basic contact information about everyone. Basically, sort of the information that Benji shared, that database, but in a very easy to read human form, because we recognize that it's really important to have all of this information in hard copy form as well, because in an emergency, obviously, we won't have access to the great structure that,
Right.
we're working on building, but we're hoping that it can also be a repository for where people can either go in their little neighborhood group and find it and print it out, or maybe the block captains say, from our emergency kitty, we're taking out $23 to, send this to the copy shop and they're going to make up packets for everyone. So there's sort of a wide range, but we really do want all of our work in setting up this kind of structure to translate into real world kind of support, not just have it be, I mean, emailing or whatever connection, all that stuff is great. But we really want it to facilitate people meeting up in person and really feeling like they have an infrastructure to kind of support that.
Hmm.
Dave, you definitely just touched on two issues we've struggled with our database also is an easy way to print a list, just a quick neighborhood roster. And the second one you just mentioned that I've already forgotten. Yeah.
Well, I've forgotten it too, so
Okay, good. I'll remember in a second.
yes,
Can I
ma'am.
can I ask you something that's not related to the groups IO, but is there an overall map of Berkeley, of the entire city, showing the outlines of the groups that are organized?
No. What there is, is something that this group started a while back. So I mentioned Charlotte, who's sort of this was a database maven, and she would be sort of the gatekeeper. Whenever somebody wanted to join, she would say, "Are you from a group? Where's your group?" And she literally put together a Google map and that shows exactly what you're talking about. Was it comprehensive? Probably not. I mean, I'm sure that there were neighborhood groups that had nothing, had no connection to BDPNN, but it was became out of date really quickly. And I think Google Maps is pretty amazing. As I said before, I have issues around privacy in Google, but it's capable of doing a lot of pretty cool things. But I love how what Benji has set up allows for a map to be automatically generated. I think that's great. So anytime a neighborhood group uh, joins, and they don't even need to join as a whole neighborhood group. It could just literally be the block captain saying, "We have this group," adding in a line of for the database, or giving us the information to put it into the database, and all of a sudden they're up there, and they're up there in a way that is pretty specific in terms of location, but it doesn't give a lot away. It doesn't say this is where we have our neighborhood cache, etc. Yeah, Deborah.
I sent a chat note, but I'm wondering, is what you said about the shut-off valves, water shut-offs, gas, etc., would be of great interest, I think, to my neighborhood. So is there something you could share that shows how you had that available? Because I know I offered even to go around doing that, and then I realized it was, I wouldn't be able to do it alone. But that's the kind of information we have, but hasn't been put somewhere. So would that go into this subgroup, or I'm just trying to figure out
Yeah,
how.
no, my guess is not. I mean, basically, the map that this system sets up is you could have sort of a Google, you know, pin drop or whatever they call that, um, saying this is where, one uh, member of this subgroup lives, and you see it all, but very different from our map, which has like you literally see the structure, and on the right-hand side as you face the
Right.
building is the map on the ground, so we've kind of gone to pretty high end to try to do something like that. And then I've also seen hand-drawn maps that are really great. So I think there are lots of ways to do it. And seeing what I could totally here's what I could see is Deborah. So let's say that all of us are block captains. We belong to a block captain subgroup. You would post in there a poll saying, we want to put together a map. You know, tell us how you did your map if you have one and what its limitations are. And, did you have to have a degree in Illustrator to put it together? So it's that kind of sharing of information that kind of is what BDPNN was started for, right? We didn't want neighborhood groups constantly reinventing the wheel when other neighborhood groups have been going through some of the challenges of this kind of information sharing. So,
Mhm.
And to add also, I didn't show it on, but on the sidebar on the left, there's also a files section. So if you do have like a physical drawn map, you could take a picture of it and share it with the subgroup as like an image in the files section. Um, and also with the database feature, you're not limited to one database. So there could be like, here's like emergency shut off, like a database with addresses. And that's one of the nice features of groups.io is if a row Earth, like the definition of that particular database, that table has an address field, it automatically creates a map. So there could be multiple map or multiple databases with maps for different reasons within the subgroup.
and Deborah, by the way, I'm happy to share. I actually put together for my neighborhood a map without any private information on it. And I'm happy, I'll email that to you so that you can see what it's like. And it's, you know, I did it years ago, and it in a way that makes it easy to add different features, but happy to do that.
Thank you. That would
Okay,
be
we're at
wonderful.
7:25. I was going to try to keep this to an hour at the most, mainly because my brain starts to shut down after an hour Zoom. But uh, in terms of what we are discussing and presenting tonight, does this feel like something that's not a waste of your time?
Mhm.
Yes.
I do want honest feedback.
No, I think this is very helpful. I mean, I was looking for a way to contact and to have discussions with other block captains and trade, suggestions how to improve the neighborhood groups. So this is great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
that is be very helpful.
I think,
Once we
one of
learn
the
how to use it.
Yeah, I think also, the thing that's going to make us successful is participation, like being able to reach existing groups or individuals who are working on developing groups, so that and th there's a place for them to come to and feel like they're with like-minded people in terms of they want to help their neighborhoods kind of do the best they can in terms of connecting. So. Thank you all so much for coming. And I like the size of this group, actually. It was really
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was enough to have sort of some diversity without having it be overwhelmed where, I'm having to unmute people or something. So thank you all very much. Benji and I will be kind of mapping out next steps. Our next board meeting is on the 20th. We've got a lot of stuff to deal with then, but you will be getting kind of a wrap-up email about this Zoom, but also about our next steps probably within the next couple of weeks. So thank you so much, everyone.
Great.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
David.
David, thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Nice to